Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best 10 brawlers to max out in Power League. So the Power League season starts on Monday, so this video will give you a little bit of a head start, and I think next Tuesday as well I'll be doing a Power League guide of all the best drafting tips. So to start with, we're going to be taking a look at one of the best brawlers to max out for sure in Power League. It has to be RT. So RT is such a fantastic option in a lot of the passive game modes, and the main reason why I'm suggesting RT is because he's pretty much never banned out, but is always within some of the top picks throughout the maps, so you can always be safe to play RT in Power League, and of course your resources will be safe because of course he's never banned out. But the best game modes for him is going to be Bounty and Knockout. Of course, pretty much every single one RT is fantastic in, probably with the exception of Canal Grande. Any maps with a lot of bushes, RT might struggle a little bit, but at the same time he's underrated in the sense that you can use the recording, star power, and use your super, and you can actually get a lot of pressure and essentially be like a mini Jackie. I think RT can be used pretty much everywhere except for Heist. So for me, he has to be one of the best brawlers to max out in Power League. So jumping into the next brawler you must absolutely max out with this season of Power League, we have Spike. So I'm always going back and forth on whether Spike's hypercharge is good or not, but the more I see it and the more I see pros play in scrims with hypercharge selected, Spike actually is a super strong brawler. So the main reason I really enjoy Spike as a hypercharge is because it's just so easy to build up your supers with Spike, especially if you're using the mythic gear as well. You're able to cycle through a couple of quick supers as long as you get that first one, and then you combine the mythic gear with his hypercharge as well. I think that's the most broken thing about it. I don't think it's the actual hypercharge super, I think it's the mythic gear. You cover such a large area with that super, and of course the slowing effect as well. It can be so easy to cycle. You know, the good thing about Spike as well, he's super versatile, really strong in every Brawl and gem grab map. He can be usable in Heist as well with his other build with Fertilize and popping pink cushions, and he's somewhat decent in Hot Zone as well, so you can pretty much play him in 4 of the game modes easily. He has to be one of the best brawlers because he's never banned out as well. Jumping into another brawler you must absolutely max out with the new season of Power League, it has to be Brawl. So I've spoke about him a few times in my latest videos, but I definitely recommend maxing him out for Power League because people just don't really understand the true power of this brawler. He's absolutely insane. The best thing about him, of course, even if you don't directly land on top of someone with that hypercharge super, it's just the extra movement speed. It's the tankiness when you have that hypercharge. It allows you just to push into the enemy's faces. They just can't take you down, and especially since the Shelly nerf, there's not really been a lot of brawlers that can completely shut down tanks in this meta, so Brawl has just thriving even more. You see him all the time in Brawl when it comes down to competitive. You see him a lot of time in gem grab. Of course, he's the best brawler in Heist in literally every single Heist map as well. And I think the thing that's pushed Brawl even further into the meta is because in Heist a lot of people like Chuck. So if you're looking for the best counters Chuck, it's literally Brawl because he deals the most damage to the enemy safe in comparison to a Chuck. So I just think the meta really suits a Brawl, usable everywhere, probably except for Knockout. Put into the next brawler you must absolutely max out for Power League, it is Stu. So I always recommend maxing out Stu for Power League. I think a lot of people should have him maxed out by now, but if you haven't, he definitely is one of the best spots he's been in for a long time. So yesterday I pointed out that Gassy Hill was one of the best star powers in the game now. It recently received a small buff. It does seem small, but it really has helped push him towards the S tier. The reason why as well, he's such a fantastic option because most people don't ban out Stu as well. He has these glaring obvious counters as well, so you don't want to pick him like early on in the draft, but as a 2-3 pick he's really solid, especially in every single map on Hot Zone. He can be a strong pick in gem grab and Brawl as well, and the flexibility with Stu that I really enjoy is the fact that you can use him even as a mid in gem grab. So even if your enemies pick a mid for whatever reason, or just how the draft goes, you can safely play Stu as a mid using the speed zone turret as well. So I think it's a fantastic option. Has to be one of the most versatile right now. Jumping into the next brawler you must absolutely max out the next season of Power League, we have a Piper. So normally I would recommend Nanny. Nanny is the better version of Piper, but I feel like people have noticed how strong Nanny is, especially on those really long range and open maps. Whilst Piper always, to me, sneaks through the ban stage. You know, you think of Heist, for example. A lot of people straight away ban Nanny on safe zone, but I can just go a Piper. Although it doesn't deal with the exact damage that Nanny does, you can easily pop off if you hit your shots. Of course, that's the only thing that's stopping you from playing those long range brawlers. You've got to have that good aim. But the reason why I love Piper so much as well is that she's starting to be a really strong asset on other game modes as well, where she wasn't particularly strong on before, like Brawl, for example. She's a fantastic counter pick to a lot of the meta mids. She's a really strong gem grab mid as well, one of the best counters to like 8-bit, for example. And you're seeing her pretty much everywhere in every single open map. So for me, Piper has to be one of the best brawlers in the game, and definitely for Power League as well. But into the next brawler, you must absolutely max out for Power League. It is still Squeak. So even though he's received a few nerfs in a row with the last set of balances, he's still one of the best brawlers to max out for Power League in my opinion. People were still underrating Squeak. The residue gadget is still super strong. You just need to make more of it, if you get what I mean. Just like how the crow gadget got nerfed a few times, you got to do that with Squeak, making sure that you're getting the right opportunities, not just spamming out his gadget constantly, making sure that you know the opponents at least are forced into an uncomfortable position with every single gadget that you use. But you still have 4 uses of residue, so that's 4 chances to push the enemy back and gain control of the map. And the best thing about Squeak right now is that he's a fantastic late pick. You don't have to pick him early on in the draft anymore, because there are a lot of tankier options, but depending on how the draft goes, a lot of times he's the best counter to tank counters. So it's kind of rock paper scissors in that sense, but he's still a fantastic option right now. So jumping into the next brawler, you must absolutely max out for Power League right now. It is Mandy. So Mandy, I'm always a little bit harsh on her because she's a very hot and cold brawler, but I think she's always a brawler that gets well, doesn't get banned, because a lot of times people ban Mandy or even Piper or just some other longer range brawlers, and Mandy for me is the brawler which, if you're good with her, you can absolutely hard carry. So I just love playing her in Power League specifically if there's a lot of bad randoms on that certain day. But of course, Bounty, she's fantastic everywhere outside of Canal Grande. She's really strong in every single knockout map as well, and even some longer range maps as well, like in Gem Grab maybe. She can be a decent off meta pick, but I'm just talking strictly Bounty and knockout really, where no one bans her, but she's always that carry option. So if you're a good Mandy, definitely worthwhile maxing her out. Okay, so jumping into the next brawler, you must absolutely max out with the next season of Power League. It has to be Colette. So I feel like people know the true power of Lou now, and I saw him banned a lot when I was playing Power League towards the end of the season. But I feel like people don't know the true power of Colette just yet. She's so incredibly strong. Of course, she's a tank counter in that sense, but I'm seeing her literally everywhere, and especially with the push it star power, I think that actually might be the little bit of the better one, considering the hypercharge, the way that works. I'm seeing Colette as a mid in gem grab. Yeah, that is crazy to hear, but a lot of people are going 8-bit, and one of the best counters to 8-bit is Colette. The same with Pam. I'm seeing a lot of Pam right now. One of the best counters to Pam is Colette as well. So you're seeing her a lot right now in gem grab. Hot zone, of course, she's insane in heist, and of course she'll always be meta in Brawl as well with the pure tanks in the game. So I think she'll be escaping the ban period a lot of the times, but she's one of the best hypercharge brawlers for sure right now. So jumping into the next brawler, you must absolutely max out for Power League. It is Poco. So I'm trying to push the Poco agenda because I still feel like people are just sleeping on this brawler. Of course, he hasn't been completely at the top of the meta for a little while, but the more I play him, I played him so much towards the end of the season, specifically in Brawl. I just felt like he was in his old state again. I was just sniping people with Screeching Solo. I was just running at people's faces, and they just can't deal with it. And the fantastic thing about him as well, there's a lot of stun brawlers at the top of the meta. You know, there's a lot of Lou, for example. There's a lot of Crow. So the best thing about him is a great counter pick to a lot of those meta brawlers because of his protective tunes gadget. He can literally unfreeze the opponent, or for example, if someone stuns you, I don't know, even slows you with a Shelly Super. There's just so many slowing effects right now in the game. You can just remove them. And the fact that I love about him the most is you get full gadget uses as well. So I just feel like that's perfectly tops off what you can do with him. He's a fantastic option in Brawl, as I mentioned, really strong in Hot Zone, and he can be somewhat of an off-meta pick in some of the other close-range maps like Canal Grande, for example, or even in Gem Grab. So for me, he has to be such an underrated pick. He's never banned, and he's super strong in the right hand. Okay, so jumping into the final brawler, you must absolutely max out with the next season of Power League. It has to be Cordelia. So I think I already recommended maxing him out just anyways outside of Power League, but within Power League as well, I think he's still a fantastic option. I think he's definitely a top 5 brawler right now, maybe even towards the top 3 with how much he's been played in competitive and his win rates. And still, I see him banned never in Power League. I think I'm one of the only people that tends to ban him. You know, specifically Brawl, he's a fantastic option. I can look at every single game mode outside of the really long range maps, and still I see people pick Cordelius on Shooting Star because of how strong he is right now. It's just not being spoken about enough. People are underrating him. He's never banned out. Make sure to max him out. You probably got him maxed out anyways because of how broken he was on release. But that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know whether I missed out on any of these, and of course there's going to be a Power League guide on Tuesday to keep you up to date, and you can kind of figure out for yourself where the gaps are within your brawler roster. So that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.